Welcome to the Memorial Gardens, a piece of land which has been set aside for use of Necton village. The area itself here was a pit for taking gravel stones out of, which happened for many years, going a long way back in time. Since then it has turned into a dumping ground for locals and people passing by throwing their rubbish into fill up, which is rather a big hole. The village itself, we've looked at this and now we're seeing what we can do to bring it back into a positive use, and that's what we're after. So we're going to have a walk through it to see the hazards and maybe look at the potential of what could be done. We start off going down the hill here and immediately you can see lots of nettles. They are of the stinging variety, and therefore we have an immediate problem with children coming into here and what could happen to them. So a lot of work has to be done here to trim back a good pathway for use by everybody. We'll go for a walk. Lots of trees within the park itself. They tell me 600 young trees have been planted. I think we'll have to search to find them because it'll be somewhere in the nettles themselves. We have used this for an Easter egg hunt, but we did that before all these nettles had taken hold. Good to see wildlife in it. There's lots of birds within here and a good sign of a recent molehill. So we've got moles in here as well, which can only be good for the area. Logs that have been cut from trees have been left here for youngsters who come in and play in here. There's a number of them do and make their own dens. You can see here, if I was to pull that back, they've got themselves a den up the hillside. How safe it is another matter. The question of that would be, how safe is it? Whatever we do, we want to make it a challenge for children, but at the same time it can't endanger children. The sides are quite steep, lead themselves to wildlife living here, birds, and the use of. What can you imagine can happen here? There's a route going off here to the right. We haven't really developed that at all. You can see the main pathway is still going off in front of us. But it doesn't just have to be a one route round site. The wood's gradually rotting. That's been left deliberately in piles. But again, good habitat for wildlife. And that's something we're not going to lose the sight of. Vegetation is basically green, and that would need developing and some colour added to it. There's an old rose there, a wild rose. We have a lot more of that, it would help. Over the top of this bank leads up to houses at the top. It's quite a climb up there, so I wouldn't be risking it at present. We've got a crow in front of us on the floor who's got a damage either wing or leg and it can't get off the ground. It's an interesting development. It's on a little valley coming through it. The potential is there in the eyes of whoever develops it. And that will be nice to see. Come on, Pet. Come on. And to the left here, where we do have one bench being situated here, which had been excavated in front of it, excavated for a pond. Maybe not the right idea. I think safety wise with water and children do not mix. And actually, how do you get water to go in it in the first place? That's where you'd have the problem. So I hope that the intention of filling this in will come to fruition. Something can be thought of to go in the middle there. see the lack of use of the site at present, because even the bench here, the nettles are growing through it and the thistles are growing from the side of it, so it's lost its basic use. Pathways lead off from here, heading off to go up the bank. Better them than me, but they've gone up the bank right to the fence at the very top. Bit of a scramble. And then other pathways can be opened up through the trees, under the trees, and the canopy is a nice arched canopy there as you go through. We'll take a walk round and to the perimeter of it. So we're going to have seats for people to sit on, then you've got to have something for them to look at. And at present, really, the view is, as I said before, green and the majority nettles. We need to add to that. Crows are making a good sound. He's stuck here again. Up we go. Up we go. Go on. Come on. That's it. Youngsters have been in, making themselves a jump by the look of it. I don't know how safe that one is, but never mind. Inside, this is the extremities of the quarry itself, going right up to the fence of those houses. Somewhere along the line there's no entry signs being put in. Not sure of why and who's done that. But we have had a lot of material, shall we say, thrown over the top to try and fill that up. Not the best thing. More here where there is the road, St Andrew's Lane runs along the top, and again you can see things have been thrown over the top just as a rubbish dump. Steep sided can offer its challenges itself, and that we have to look at, or someone has to look at. Nice to have a bit of a twist and a turn. This is what led to us thinking we could create a cycle track through here, which has its ups and downs, twists and turns, a little rally cross for the kids, including the big kids. And to be fair, some children have been in here and done some positive things. They've built themselves up a bank, they've done positive things so they can train here. And it's those children that we have to encourage to be part of the whole system. I don't know if I'm going to make it. Yes, I did. I don't know if you can make it up there. By the look of it, they've been coming in that way. There is a road along the top. A bit dangerous, I would have thought. I have to be pretty agile to go up in there. Now we come to a bit of a tip. As it is, isn't it? When you see all the wood here, what can be done? They've tried to build shelters, and sadly other people have knocked them down. But you can see what they've done up there, and you can't take that away from children. They should be allowed to explore and build things. Just the safety aspect we are worried about. When you come to ropes hanging in woods, balancing things, a little bit of a concern. Relatively new piece of pathway put in here. There's a stepped gradient needed. Oh, a bit more wildlife. It's a munkjack just gone across the top. And then it takes us back. There's little alternatives along, but there is a heck of a drop there, and that's what you've got to be so concerned about. They've been digging out underneath. Again, what would happen if it fell and there's a child inside it? We want to explore, but we want to be safe. Remnants of a fire being lit here. And then we'll head along the top road back to forming the circle. Circle around the outside of the quarry itself. It's amazing how different this looks at just sort of slightly different times of the year with the greenery coming out. So this is going to show again the problems of the nettles coming in and making it a difficult pathway to traverse along. Take a lot of sorting out there. This was built as a piece to look over the top of the quarry itself. It's quite a drop when you think of it going down to the bottom. We may get a better view of that if we go around the corner. And quite a drop going down, and this is where it has to be made safe as well as a challenge. And the route through where children have gone through themselves and gone down and up down the bank. No thank you. So this will take us back up to the top and walking along. There is quite a steep drop to its left. Now, bit of a walkway being put in, wooden walkway. Underneath it, they've dug away to build a den. Is quite steep, and then you consider what is safe and what isn't. Tarpaulin being brought in to add to the den, the waterproof variety. So it gives a good look around. We've walked through that to come back up again. So there is a challenge, there is a depth. There is the vegetation around it, there are the pathways, the different challenges. It's what can be made out of it, and that's what we're looking at. So this will take us to a drop back down to where we actually started from. There now. For the use of the village, the Necton Area Trust put in some pallets turned into recycling bins or compost heaps. I don't think they've had much use other than the work that's been done in here in the first place. I don't know if we pointed out, that's the artwork that the children of the first school made before the first school actually closed down. So a lot of the children who made that in 2003 will be parents living in this village now. It seems to have sunk slightly. We create to identify each tile to a person's name. That is the scale of the challenge. What can be done with an area of land which is put by for the village itself to use, doesn't matter what age, to enjoy it, and second, it was a memorial garden for the Queen, the deceased Queen, and really I think we've got to do something with it, otherwise it isn't exactly a good legacy that we're leaving here. I think something could be done there, or should be done.